Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of Genuine Business Stories, where we have real front porch chats that inspire success. Today's guest turned a passion for music into a thriving business that impacts students, families, and the community. Joining us is Camille Hastings, founder of Leading Note Studios here in Magnolia, Texas, with a couple of other locations also. Camille's journey blends creativity, education, entrepreneurship, and leadership. And we're going to unpack how she built something meaningful that goes far beyond music lessons. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready for a full insight, grit, and inspiration. Let's dive into the journey of Camille Hastings. Camille, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I am excited to get to know you better too.
Well, fantastic. So for listeners that are meeting you for the first time, what is Leading Note Studios, and who's kind of your clientele that you serve?
Well, Leading Note Studios is a music studio teaching music lessons. Private lessons is our specialty. Piano, voice, guitar, drums. Name an instrument. We've got even banjo and accordion over the years, harmonica. So any instrument, if you want to learn it, I'll find a teacher because I think it's important to learn music. So that's what we're all about. The fun fact for you musicians out there is leading note is actually a musical term. It's the seventh note of the scale, and it leads you back home. It leads you back to the root. So I always like to say Leading Note Studios is a home destination to bring you back to your roots and learn music.
I think a lot of us love the guitar and the piano. Mm-hmm. I'm a little partial to the harp or the harmonica.
Yeah.
Because my grandfather played it.
Fun. It definitely is an underrated instrument, but it can be really fun.
Well, Grandpa was a minister, so it was fun. He was in Kansas, and it was fun to go up there where all the aunts and uncles would be around, and he'd break out his harmonica, and one of the aunts would get on the piano, and we'd just start singing gospel songs. So
isn't that great? That's exactly what it's about.
Those moments you remember from your childhood.
Yeah, absolutely. Music always brings you back to a memory or emotion of something. It's everywhere.
Oh, you have a breakup? Then there's always a song on that radio that you're hoping you can get turned off before it.
Exactly.
You have happy moments. There are, with 80s music, there are things that come on when I am driving down the road and all of a sudden I'm transported back to 18.
I totally get that. Back to my high school, dance, at the homecoming in the gym. Absolutely. I have those same memories and, still sing the songs and I even laugh sometimes going, oh my gosh, that's what I was singing about at that age, But it's all around us. It makes us feel good. It makes us cry. It brings us joy, so.
The other thing I find amusing is a lot of the songs that we sang, now that we're older, if you see any closed caption of those words and you realize, I've been singing that wrong for 40 years.
Not only been singing it wrong, but, they have a whole new meaning sometimes, that as a youngster, you were just singing the riff and going, oh, this sounds good. And then you're like, oh.
But it was putting us in our own little headspace.
Exactly. And we moved and we laughed and
So what makes your studio experience different from traditional lessons?
Well, I definitely, my motto is I teach the joy of music. I just want people to love music. It's, again, something you're going to have till you're 99 years old. If anybody has ever heard me talk or anything like that, they know a couple of my slogan words are, every retirement home has a piano. None of them have a soccer team. So you can quit music and play soccer, but why not stick with music? Because that's going to last you till you're 99 years old. And so that's what I want. I want the kids to feel, and I say kids, all ages. We have a 95-year-old currently right now taking piano lessons to keep her brain and her fingers moving. So I'm going to say students, but we do, the priority is kids, but we have a lot of adults taking. I want them to feel welcome, safe, comfortable, willing to make mistakes, willing to succeed, willing to try, and just love music. And we want to simplify it. And if we're going too fast, we'll slow it down. If you don't like this teacher, let's try a different teacher. If you're struggling with guitar because it hurts your fingers, then let's move to piano or singing. But let's keep you in music, because that's how much I think it's so valuable to everyone for your entire life.
Great. So we're going to jump into your journey from the very beginning here in just a second.
Oh, my.
I want you to go ahead and let's discuss each location.
Okay.
And to quickly tell the audience where they are, and if you've got a contact number that they can call if they're in Katy or wherever, or your main line, or even your website, whatever can kind of give at the start of the show,
Sure.
people something to search for you.
Sure. So let's focus on Magnolia location. We just opened it officially ribbon cutting in November.
Which is where we met.
This is where we met. Yep, you were at my ribbon cutting.
With the Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, let's just go there. I joined Chambers before I have the business. I love Chambers. They are so valuable to the company. I find other chamber members to use for me. I've already got one doing my printing. I got one doing the flowers. I had one doing the balloons. I love using, chamber members. So that's a no-brainer. If you're looking to even think about a business, I joined the chamber before I opened, and even at my second location, I was part of the chamber 6 months before my door opened. So valuable. Okay. So, Magnolia opened. We just hit 100 students. I'm very excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And, it's like I said, it's a safe zone. It's loved. We're right there on Tamina, right off 1488 and 2978 intersection. Tamina kind of does a little jet through to the HEB. And just yesterday, they opened up the street in front of me. So if you've been driving on Tamina, construction's been horrendous. But just yesterday, they opened it up, and suddenly the cars are right in front of our building now, where they've been on the far side of the street. I put signs on the far side of the street to let them know, look to your left, So that's pretty exciting. So, but I found that because I was able to buy the building, and I love being able to own my own property now instead of being a leaser or renter. And then the location just worked out. That's like a kid zone. There's a lot of gymnastics, dancing, karate. There's special needs on the street. There's baseball. There's soccer right across the street from me. So it is kind of turning into a nice little kids avenue of music.
Places to eat too.
And some places to eat. Yes. Yeah. There's a cute little flower petal bakery. I love going there. In fact, we give birthday cards to all our students, and we send them there to pick up a free scoop of homemade ice cream from our chamber member who does the homemade ice cream.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go to the beginning of your journey.
Oh, yeah. We digressed.
So
I do that.
Here's what I really like to know. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Did you have any businesses as a kid? Selling pet rocks to your grandmother, lemonade stand, anything like that?
Well, I was always a performer. So I grew up outside of LA with my family. And so I was always driving into LA and auditioning and, trying out for this and that. So, my first official job was a hostess at a Coco's, if anybody remembers a Coco's restaurant. But, I always kind of ran your own business because you were always trying to get the next gig or the next performance or the next commercial, that kind of stuff. So, so that's kind of where that landed. So no, other than that, I did not. Yeah.
So what was your first job where you actually had a boss?
That would be Coco's.
Coco's.
Yeah. Coco's. I was the hostess. I worked on Sunday nights. I rode my bike there. I was probably 15 at the time. And then closer to 16, I started actually teaching music. I had a music school there that I, went to 5 nights a week between dance and voice and piano. And she needed help with the Rising Star group, which was 5 and 6-year-olds. So I started teaching them and becoming their director. And so I started teaching 5 and 6-year-olds at age 16, and I haven't looked back. So
That's incredible. So
yeah.
when did you start with your music?
Um,
If you were teaching at 16, then I know that you started very early on.
It was about 8. I had a piano lesson. I started 8 at piano. My sister, we both walked. My parents both worked, so we had a babysitter after school. So we'd walk to the babysitter's house while they were at work. And my sister got to go to a pool party with her piano lessons. So I don't know how she started piano lessons with the girl down the street, and I didn't. But I know she got to go to the pool party and I didn't. And I was like, hey, I want the pool party. So I started piano lessons so I could go to the next pool party. Well, my sister quit lessons. I never quit. And I never did get the pool party because she never had another one. But here I am, years later. So I was 8 years old. I started piano lessons. And her name was Dana. She worked out of her parents' house. So, yeah.
So what was the moment that made you first think of leading note? That you wanted to start your own?
Well, my husband and I lived in Nashville, loved it, and I worked at Jan Williams School of Music. And what my studio is her vision. We worked together for about 10 years. We talked about even opening up a second location with her. Life happened, 9/11 hit, and we decided we needed to be by family, so that took us to San Diego area. And then I got a job working at a public school, a public Christian school. Loved it. But, I always had that dream of opening up another Jan Williams, right? And so you start playing around with the idea and you start putting things on paper and putting a little graph together and, Excel spreadsheet and that kind of thing. And I reached out to my family members and I said, hey, I've got this business idea. I'd like to open up a music school. I've been at this school teaching preschool to high school. So I knew this entire community for 10, 12 years. Everybody knew me as a music teacher. But I'd like to open this music school. Would you be interested in, investing in me? And every single family member said no. And I was like, okay, that's okay. So I was after school, sitting in the after school childcare because it was my day to take care of the childcare at the school. And I happened to sit at the piano next to this girl and I was like, let me show you some things. And we're just, hanging out waiting for her parents to pick her up. And the dad shows up and he's like, you're the best teacher. You really need to open up your own place. And I go, well, funny you should say that. Here's my business plan that just happened to be sitting on the desk at the studio. And within 24 hours later, he called back and he said, go find a place. I'm your investor. I got you.
That is fantastic.
And that's how it started. Yeah. it was just, the Lord just takes you different places, but I've always also said it's nice to, I talk, I tell people, I share my ideas, I share my stories, and I learn things, but then I get suggestions. And then sometimes I get success and they go, I think I can help you out. And I like that. So
that is fantastic.
Yeah. So that was in 2009.
So in 2009, when you started your first studio,
Yeah.
were you still in the San Diego area?
Yep, San Diego area. It's a place called Encinitas. And I was, very much had a chip on my shoulder. And I said, I teach at a Christian school for 10 years. Everybody knows me. They're going to come take lessons from me. So I opened the doors with 5 clients. And that was in August. And about January, I'm calling the landlord saying, I can't pay the rent, but I'm close. And that was a hard nugget to swallow. And then about March, it was March or April, I called and I said, okay, I can cover rent. Now, by this time, I was still working the day job of teaching preschool to high school. And then at 3:00, I'd race over and now teach private lessons at my location from 3 to 8 at night. So they were long days. It took me a while. I started marketing and stuff. And then, of course, having that guts to finally quit the day job and go full time. And that's a hard thing. But, I learned over it and I succeeded. And I had the best landlord. I'm still there. His name's Tom. And at that time when I had those 3 months of half rent, I was like, okay, I'll get caught up. And he sent me a letter saying, don't worry about it. I'm going to forgive you for all that back rent. So those were
God
more
has really
things.
blessed you with
Oh my
stories.
gosh. So many stories like that,
That is awesome.
So, yeah. And I'm still there with him, and he comes by every Christmas and gives me a poinsettia.
So that means you've got locations in what, 2 states?
I have locations in 2 states.
2 states. So how many locations do you have in California?
So I opened a second one in 2020, did the ribbon cutting in February, and, everything hit March. But by then, I already knew the chamber. I had resources. I did have a history in the community. They knew who I was. So it was a tough year, but I survived and came out
How
back in.
did you handle that with your customers? Because I believe that your previous state, you guys locked down a lot.
Oh, we
more than
locked down.
did. And I have friends, I started my commercial insurance brokerage right before COVID. Mm-hmm. I've got one of my best friends since high school actually we go back to kindergarten, that started a business right before COVID.
Yeah.
It was a real challenge.
It was
even
hard.
Here in Montgomery County, I would argue that it was more the mentality and concern that people had of the unknown than us not being able to go out.
Yeah.
And with what I did, it changed the whole dynamic.
Those drastic phones.
Well, I had it turned off for all the chamber events and turned it on just in case you couldn't find parking, and then forgot to turn it back off. So sorry to everybody.
I was blessed with parking right in front.
That is fantastic.
I know. I have a girlfriend that always tells me, she goes, I drive through parking lots and I just go, I feel good today. And you find that front spot. But I like the back spots because it makes you walk. But anyways, we digress. So yeah, I opened in 2020. I actually opened the doors with 75 students versus 5 because I had already for 6 months been telling everybody it's coming. And I had a team. There was 6 of us that never ever stopped going in the doors. I never stayed home. I was the one car on the road in San Diego. I refused to shut my doors. I refused to stop. I said, what'll it take for you to continue music lessons? And I remember the front desk staff, he was calling people, and I had the girl at the other location, they're calling people saying, we're going on Zoom. Here's the number. And they'd start a little Post-it stack of clients that were not wanting to go on Zoom. And those were the ones I had to call. So I literally just kept picking up numbers off the Post-it and calling them going, please try. We're here for you. Hang in there. And we only dropped maybe 5-6% over that time.
I would think that with what you do, it kept a lot of sanity during that
Well,
time.
we became counselors. There were so many times we were counselors. The kid didn't want to play, left the Zoom, left the room. And so we'd just start playing piano. I was like, don't hang up, just start playing music. They'll come back. And they always did,
Yeah.
I did a daily pop-up live music class every single day on Facebook.
That's fantastic.
For the
Marketing.
students. And I said, come join me every day. We'll learn a song. And that's what we did. And some days I had 50 kids. Some days I had 2, and every single day, 12:30. Hi guys, here I am. Who wants to join me today? So we did extra stuff.
Great way to give back and market at the same time.
Well, again, we became counselors. It was for 30 minutes. They got to forget about why they were stuck home, why they couldn't see their friends, and just escape and go, hey, let's zone in on this song. Let's play You Are My Sunshine. Let's play it again. Hey, watch the right hand, right? And suddenly you're forgetting about what's going on outside.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 locations in California. Mm-hmm. You've got 3 here in Texas.
No, just one.
Just one.
Oh.
Okay. No.
Oh, don't put bugs in my ear. I'll go for it. But just one. So my husband and I, we became empty nesters officially. Now my daughter does work for the company. She's the VP. So she kind of is the boots on the ground in Cali. But, we missed Nashville. We missed being there. We just love the Southern mentality. We love the weather. And don't get me wrong, San Diego's fun, but I like fall. I like seeing leaves fall. I like having a chilly day and putting on a jacket, So as soon as we had the opportunity, my husband, well, when COVID hit, he's like, let's get out. Let's get out. I had to go backwards so we got shut down in March. At the end of April, I was announcing we're open if anybody wants to come in for lessons, right? I had the state senators calling me saying I was breaking the law. And I was like, come get me, right? I had police show up saying you're breaking the law. I was like, what law? Do not arrest my teachers. They're supporting me. I go, you can come arrest me. I just fought. I fought so much. But so my husband was like, I want out. I want to get back to Nashville. He's a musician also. He's an amazing musician, was doing phenomenal. So he wanted out. So I spent about a year putting all the processes in place so that I could leave. And during that time, I lost my office. My office became a music room. We needed it. So had my office in the kitchen. Well, you can't do payroll sitting in a kitchen. So then I start working at home.
But it's easy access to the coffee.
Well, it is. So, I just started, working myself out of the business and monitoring from afar. And then I said, okay, honey, I'm in a good place. Let's go. Let's go back to Nashville. But then I was like, ooh, there's no direct flights. And my daughter's there. My sons are there. My business is there. I need a direct flight. So instead of heading back to Nashville, we picked Houston because it's a hub and I can get a direct flight. I can leave at 9 and I can be at my business by noon, which is really nice with the time change. I can see my kids. I'm a brand new grandma.
Congratulations.
Born in October 28th. So it's fun to jump back. And so I travel back about once a month, once every 6 weeks, and just say hi and make sure things are going well.
That's fantastic.
So that's what brought us here. And that was 3 years ago.
What brought you to Montgomery County?
Well,
there's a lot of land around Houston.
There's a lot of land. I missed being at the studios. Working from home is not what it's all cracked up to be. I like people. I like hearing music. I like hugging kids. I like showing someone a C chord. And to work from home and just do interviews and payroll and HR, that's not me. So I started putting the bug in my husband's ear going, I'd kind of like to open a location here. I want to go to the office. I want to be around people and stuff. So found a great agent through church and we started looking at places to lease. And for music, you want to be close enough to good school districts because that's where the parents are moving. It's always that fine line between, because we are a extracurricular activity. So you have to have the people around that can afford you. But at the same time, you want to be able to give to everybody. So you try and find that fine line of location and stuff. But we were looking at places to lease and I had, all my business stuff in a row. And someone finally told me, he's like, you could probably buy a building with your income. And I was like, what? I didn't think about that, Well, here comes my uncle. My uncle says, hey, Camille, I'll give you the down payment for a SBA loan. Why don't you go buy a building? So we looked at buying a building and found the one on Tamina and it was cute. It's so cute. You got to drive by and see it. It's 3,000 square feet, which is the exact same size as my other building. So I didn't have to have landlord other people. And
it's very welcoming and warm too.
Thank you. Yeah. I want any parent should be able to drop their kid off and go to the HEB or go to the UPS or whatever it is. They know their child's, we always have someone at the front desk. We have cameras, everyone's background checked. There's windows on the doors, open door policy. You can sit in the lobby, you can go into the lesson, you can drop off, your child's safe. And that's what I want. So I definitely have a very welcome, safe, clean, environment. So,
in where you're at, positioned in what those mom and dad brought us here in 74. So I've watched this community explode.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And
I was raised in Magnolia, raised my daughter in Tomball.
Yeah.
And come back to Magnolia for a little bit.
Yeah.
Then moved to Kansas. It's where Dad's from, and took a leadership position in Allstate.
Love it.
But it let me go to see my grandmother. She was 96 at the time. That was in 2015.
Wow.
So I got a couple of years with my grandmother because I was that grandchild that was raised in another state.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was fun. And then moved back to San Antonio and Austin. area where I was still with Wall State, but I came here to open my business and love the community.
Love it. Yeah.
It's amazing how when you're young, you think, I don't want to be where I was at when I was raised. So you move to the next little town.
Yeah.
Now, logically, what sense does that make that you...
Right.
But I also figured out how much I loved that small town environment. But
It is great. I love it. I love my commute. I love, it's just, well, and that's why we moved here.
in the location where you picked there around New Magnolia,
Yeah.
for marketing, that basically gives you Magnolia, but it also gives you the Woodlands area to draw from.
Well, not only that, Tomball.
Yes.
I'm literally right in the corner of Magnolia, Conroe, the Woodlands, and Tomball. So it's funny because sometimes I post, and okay, for you Instagram people, I cannot figure out how to get my address on Instagram, but I post, and sometimes I post location the Woodlands, sometimes it's location Conroe, sometimes it's location, I change my location because I'm literally in that sweet spot, of all the zip codes, which is a challenge for marketing because you don't want to market to all of Magnolia, but then you sit there and go, but we're close, traffic's not bad, so.
So what were some of the other big obstacles? We've talked about COVID that you had when you started your business.
Yeah. Well, post-COVID, coming out of it, finances, it was a disaster. I was paying Peter to pay Paul. I was just trying to get my payroll done because of, it was just hard. So
I think a lot of us
yeah.
had that challenge, as glad as we were coming out of it.
Yeah.
Then it was kind of the reality set in of, now how do I get my business to start?
Well, how do I get
like it needs to?
Exactly. I spent every dime, every extra money to, add here, this, or whatever it was, so taxes, whatever it was. But, so that was hard. So in 2021, 22, there were some moments there that I was like, I can't pay. Well, you're always the last one to get paid, right? But again, found a book that changed my life, and I still meet with the guy today. So it's been like 6 years, but it also set me up to get the SBA loan, that I was able to show income and things like that. So, that was a huge blessing. And actually, when we finally closed the door on the SBA loan, I didn't need my uncle. I was actually able to save up my own down payment during that time, which was even better, but it was because I really tightened the belt and figured things out. And yeah, so, but finances, I think for any small business, you don't want to, but you got to open up your account every day. I open up my account every day. And I just recently in the last 6 months, because of the third location, I started mixing money up because I was borrowing to cover Magnolia for a little bit. So I just hired a CPA, but even now I'm like, okay, I'm still doing my daily numbers. You guys can just go in and fix them, or teach me what I'm doing wrong, but I'm still going to go in every day. I'm not giving it up, because you got to know your numbers all the time.
You do have a little bit of a challenge with 2 locations in California. You're dealing with state taxes that you don't deal with here.
Yeah.
So that means if I had 3 locations here, you're having to track a lot more with your 3 locations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the taxes, the payroll, because I'm still on the payroll at location 1 and 2, plus now I'm on the payroll here. So, yeah, CPA is getting important. That's the next growing, avenue.
I am, we'll say I'm not as young as springtime anymore, and I have only one time did my own taxes.
Well,
And
now I don't do my taxes.
But it's always been a CPA since a very young age. I started going to Dad's CPA and then mine, because my attitude was, I need somebody a lot smarter than me to make sure that I'm following the rules that are set before.
Well, not only following the rules, but what rules can I take advantage of? Mm-hmm. Right? And now, we got more and more. There's always changes and stuff like that. But yeah, that's going to be huge. So yeah, no, I do not do my taxes. I haven't done my taxes in years, but I do my daily books, my monthly books, so I like that.
So do you remember the turning point when it starts to come out and then you that first time you can kind of catch your breath? You're not to where you want to be, but you're going, this is now going to be okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that moment. Was it
I-
a moment or just
No,
build
it
up
was a
over time?
moment. It was absolutely a moment. I had finally hired front desk staff. My very first front desk staff, she was a high school student that would work the front desk. So I was there from 10 to 1, and then she would come in at 1 o'clock after school and work till 8. And her job was just answer the phone. Don't deal with a mad client. Don't deal with anything. I go, I just want you answering the phone. And I'd go into lessons and I'd go, hey, I'm going into lessons. Do you need me? And I'd go into a lesson. So when I finally stopped teaching and became an owner, that was a big turning point. But I think the one time that my aunt has a place in PB in Punta Vallarta. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name. PV, down in Mexico. So we had gone down there with my husband and we were sitting on the patio, and it was like one of those first aha moments where I go, oh my gosh, I'm on vacation and my studio's making me money right now. I have employees working and a front desk working, and I'm actually still making money. Because before I only made money teaching myself, but it was the first time that I wasn't teaching and making money. Right? My business was working without me, and I was still going to get a paycheck versus,
Your business turned into a business and stopped being self-employed.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I think a lot of us, if we don't have deep pockets, it takes a few years of being self-employed before you can start making the transition to focusing more on your business.
Right. And that's a hard thing to do. That's, because you got to figure out, well, I was teaching and making X amount of dollars, which was my income. So now I'm not going to teach, which means that income needs to pay somebody else. So how many more students do I need to cover the income that I still want to take? Right? So, and sometimes you sit there and go, I just got to do it. Knowing that if I'm not teaching, now I'm answering the phone and placing ads and talking on the radio, and building the business. So even though I need 15 more students, I'm going to do it because now I'm out there promoting the studio instead of teaching myself. It's scary, but
it's funny when we start marketing and being involved. When all of a sudden I think a lot of people are a little apprehensive when you're going to join organizations. You've got to meet new people. It can lead into more public speaking and things like that.
Yeah.
But then there's that point where there's something that switches in your head. And I enjoy the business podcast, the chamber meetings, my networking, my building relationships.
Yeah.
And it's the paperwork and the other stuff where used to that was what I enjoyed. And now I have to make myself sit down and go, okay, you've been busy with all your meetings.
Okay, let's talk about that one. Yeah, because, here I am. I worked from home for 2 years. So all I was doing was paperwork and meetings. And, so I became marketer, payroll, HR. And whenever time I go back to business, to the studios and check in, I became the handyman. Because they didn't need me. They're doing so great without me. They'd say, oh, this painting, oh, this wall, oh, this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the handyman. It's no fun to come back here. I want to be I want to visit, But with that, now I lost my train of thought. I have no idea where I was going with that. We were talking about something. Yeah. I don't know where we were going with that.
I do that all the time.
Oh, I'm getting old. But yeah, so now the payroll, the HR, and now that I love being at Magnolia with the students, hanging out, I don't want to sit on the computer doing the payroll and HR. So my daughter, who just made me a grandma and has been the VP, well, she's got to stay home with my grandbaby. So now she's going to take over the HR and payroll when she's back from maternity leave. So that is the next step, Clint, is to, give that up.
That is good.
Delegate that.
So with your passion being music,
yeah.
Now that you have a transition to a business owner, how do you get your music fixed? Do you still teach some lessons?
I do. I taught Friday night. We do a parents' night out the first Friday of every month, and I taught it. It's the first Friday of every month. You drop your kids off at 5:30. We'll feed them dinner. You get to go have dinner with your wife or your husband and come back at 8:20 and we'll put on a show. So the parents get dinner and a show, and the kids get dinner and they learn a musical instrument. So I did teach that on Friday night. We taught Riptide by Vance Joy. And I had 2 students that had never picked up an instrument before. And by the end of the night, one was playing drums and one was playing a ribbon percussion. In fact, I just posted it on my Instagram, Magnolia feed. So you'll see us. We did Mission Impossible on the kazoos. And then we did a little rock band of the songs, and I taught it, so yeah, because I'm back in a studio, I can be there now,
I love that concept too.
Yeah.
It gives the kids something to do.
Mm-hmm. A little date night for the parents.
And date night for mom and dad.
Well, okay, that's huge. Get off the phones, people want to learn guitar on YouTube or that's all and well good, but you can't ask a question. Why am I playing this chord? Why am I doing this? Or why is this not sound good? Right? That's what we do. That's what we do in person. We can show you, oh, you're not pushing this finger hard enough. Or, we do this because let me show you the pattern. And they go, oh, so, yeah, get off the devices, come in, play in person. Like you said, you talked about your grandpa playing the harmonica on the porch. I mean, we can still do that.
Yeah, it was fun.
So, yeah.
Especially with him being a minister. But now for the church that Grandpa was a minister of, it was all a cappella throughout the congregation through singing there. But they had the tone harp.
Oh, yeah.
For setting the tone.
Yep.
Where before they'd start a song,
yep.
You'd hear that,
yeah.
and then everybody would start singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing that too. I play keyboards at my church, and stuff. So and then I lead. The last 2 years they've had me do the Vacation Bible School. I do the music portion of it, and I love doing that. So, yeah, I'm a business owner, but I still. If you had a piano in here right now, I would jump up and show you some chords. So yeah, it's my heart. Let me show you how easy music is.
Good. We're going to go to a break here in a second, but as we're heading into this break, I wanted to leave our audience with a little business nugget. Breakthroughs usually come right after the hardest season. And with that being said, it just means continue to move forward.
Always.
Always, as small business owners, there is a point where you're sitting there going, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. And each time I've reached that point, all I've gone back to is, Lord is always taking care of my bills, and there's always somebody that has it worse. So I've had some vehicle problems, and as a small business, a lot of times those expenses come out of marketing because everything else is hard allocated. So you kind of put a fund aside, at least I do, which is for my marketing. And I've had some truck problems here lately. And when I initially got pretty frustrated, all I thought was, you know what, I can pay for this truck. There is a fund to pay for it. Mm-hmm. But how many families are out there that one vehicle they're dependent on to get back and forth? So I very much started looking to be more grateful to what God has allowed and try to stay more positive. And with that, we're going to go to a short break, and then we'll be back.
Car enthusiasts of Conroe, FM 104.5 and 106.1 Lone Star Community Radio invites you to shift into gear every Monday from 1 to 2 with Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy for news on all things automotive in the greater Houston-Conroe area. Can't make a live show? We've got you covered. You can find all of our uncut content, including full episodes on Spotify, iTunes, Play Store, YouTube, Facebook, and irlonestar.com. Again, that's Mondays 1 to 2, Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy. See you there.
Welcome back to Genuine Business Stories. As we come back, I'm going to give a little tidbit that Winston Churchill said. Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. Which, as we headed into break, we were talking about staying positive. One would be surprised that the more positive you stay, it's not that you don't have challenges, but the more positive outcomes you have.
Absolutely.
Instead of looking, oh my goodness, what'll happen next, looking at the positive of when something happens, what the solution is.
Yes.
So we're going to move in and talk a little bit about what some of our audience is interested in, some of the business side of it, the
Absolutely.
financials in generic.
Okay.
So how long did it take before you became profitable?
I think when I finally quit my day job, I was profitable. I was probably profitable before that. I just didn't have the confidence to quit that paycheck that I knew was coming from the Christian school and go, okay, I'm going to get rid of that. And now I have to provide my own paycheck. So I think that's where the turning point was. So for me, I always considered, if I could pay rent, I would consider myself profitable. Rent's paid, I'm good, but I'd say it was a good solid, I opened in 2009, about 2011, where I finally felt like I'm able to pay myself, but I was working. I wasn't the business owner. I was, for that small business, you're making the flowers or teaching the lessons or, printing the paper, I was working in the business. So, it took a couple years. Now, my second location, even with COVID, I was, within 9 months, I was breaking even and profitable at the second location. So, at Magnolia, I'm already close. So 4 months, maybe 5.
I'll tell you what so impresses me is that you pulled off multiple locations in multiple states, and you did it in an area that is, it's not that it's not a need, because it's very much a need.
Oh, there's
for
competition.
our kids,
yeah.
but it's also stress relief, entertainment, enjoyment dollars that would have to come, activities for their kids, as people went through COVID and you've been successful.
Yeah.
That's a real challenge, because a lot of times when we tighten our belt, it may be the second season of baseball where they're running
Absolutely.
baseball, or it might be we've got to pause on your music lessons for a few months.
Oh, we get that all the time. Yeah.
So
Yes, we are extracurricular. We are not required, but I'd like to think that, math, history, science, music is part of your education. And you get rid of the cleaning lady and the car wash before you get rid of activities for your child, So I like to think that I'm not the bottom of the barrel, but I'm in the barrel,
Well, I think starting with Gen X going in, and especially through millennial, they're so focused on all their kids' activities that mom and dad will do without. The boomers and some of the older, and even with mine at 56, I think there were times that when your kid had the necessities, that there were some things where it was automatic for a parent's mind to go, this is not going to be covered right now. We'll come back to it.
Right. Oh,
when
yeah.
there's tough times. But I very much see with the younger parents, I've got friends that have run their kids year-round in sports, and I thought,
now
oh,
sports
my
are
goodness.
year-round. Do you remember baseball used to be 3 months, and football was 3 months, right? I mean, my son played football for years. It was in the collegiate level and stuff, and even the CFL went there. I mean, it was year-round. Even when they weren't on the field, they were working out and training and stuff. So he became a year-round football player, even though the season's only 3 or 4 months. And so all sports now are year-round, soccer, year-round. So it's almost, and it's a shame because kids have to almost pick one sport, instead of trying different sports.
Yeah.
And then, of course, music, well, we're in sports, but we get that call every season. Oh, now basketball's on Tuesday. We need to move our lesson. And we do it. I mean, that's why we have options. I have different teachers, different personalities, different instruments, different rooms, different days. Great, let's keep you in music, right? I want you learning the joy of music and, play the soccer, but then come decompress. All 3 of my kids play music. My son is real estate and he still plays his guitar. And even my football player, he had his keyboard set up in his room, and after studying film or winning or losing a game, he was on this keyboard and calling me going, Mom, can you help me with this? Okay. So that's what's joyful. you have a stressful day at the office, your car breaks down, and you can just go and tune out the world and play a little song on the piano. So
My cousin's 2 children, I say children, they're one's fixing to graduate
okay.
from Texas Tech, and the other one just started at A&M.
Oh, nice.
Their musical abilities, and my cousins played the drums for years in a band, and has a very successful marketing company. So it is that transition.
Yeah.
But the son that's fixing to graduate from Tech with an engineering degree, he was a good high school football player.
Yeah.
Really good. And went to his dad and said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go join the band. I wouldn't call him a prodigy, but I would tell you that after he learned his first instrument, it is natural. He taught himself to play guitar within just a couple of hours. And within a day or so, he was playing Brooks and Dunn while him and I were singing together.
Yeah.
So, his sister plays the bass and the big bass and the bass.
Yeah,
and
the acoustic.
It just runs in the family, and it's always been amazing to me because when I tried to learn the guitar years ago, my ADD wanted to get back outside. It was like,
okay, now, so I was going to ask, have you ever learned music? No. When you figure out the patterns and the science and the theory behind it, I can pick up any instrument. And that's what's so cool about it, because the notes are all the same, the rhythm's the same, but the half steps and whole steps and the design of how the scale works on every instrument is very similar and stuff. So, and even on the guitar, your ADD, if you had a guitar teacher that showed you the pattern, and you probably walk out of your first lesson going, oh my gosh, I could play 1,000 songs, because three
maybe
chords
when
will
I
teach
was
1,000
younger,
songs.
At my age now, between
No.
the podcast, my business,
No, not an
chamber,
excuse. It's an
networking,
excuse. It's an excuse.
My mind is tired.
And but see, we're going to keep it alive. You're never going to have dementia because we're going to keep music alive. I mean, we've gone into retirement homes and had students go in and play and sing songs, and retirement homes where they have like the memory loss, they come out of their fog and remember the songs. It's beautiful. So you're not too old. You're not too busy. So we have what's really cool for adults. We call it a flex pass. You buy 4 lessons and you can use them anytime you want. You book one at a time. So you book a lesson, come in, learn some things on a guitar, and come back in 2 months and book another one. So you're not set on a weekly schedule like the kids are, that kind of thing. So we can work around your schedule. I'm gonna throw that out there. I expect to see you at the studio. We're gonna get you some guitar lessons. Inspire
that is
you.
something we'll have to talk about.
So, back to the business side. It always comes back to music, though. But, yeah.
It does, and that is relaxing. I find that a lot of times, as stressful as my business can be, not whining, I put a lot of stuff on my plate intentionally.
I do too.
There's a whole lot of KSBJ or others so that my mind doesn't stay stressed.
Yeah.
As far as music, when you'd ask, the only experience I had was, I think it was 4th and 5th grade at the Christian school I was at out here. Our church's song director was also our music teacher, and he taught us how to write music, meaning as far as chords and stuff.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you what that was outside of what it looked like. It was 2 years ago. So you've already talked some about how creative you've been with your marketing.
Yeah.
So here's one of my thoughts. What method do you use, if any, about reinvesting your profits back into your business, your marketing, and now that you're profitable, can pay yourself a salary? Have you transitioned, or are you still putting every penny back in outside of covering payroll? And you're on payroll now.
No, I'm part of the expenses now. I don't get rid of my salary anymore. That's long since gone. I've got my own life to keep going on.
Good.
So that's part of it. Marketing is very important with Magnolia. I'm spending a lot of money on it right now, and I'm putting stuff in many different ponds. Besides joining the chamber, doing the radio show, but I find different, advertising not only on, Instagram and Facebook, but in different magazines. Like I love the Community Impact magazine, so I've been in there. I'm one of their clients, and then I also do, local events. We've done a couple pop-up street festivals already. You've got to do all these different ponds.
What does that look like when you pop up? Do you have instruments? Do you have students playing?
No, well, because I didn't have students. I actually had the pop-up before it was open. So no, it's just us with instruments on a table saying we're teaching lessons. We're here. This is how we do it. Here's a variety of instruments. Sign up and let us know. And that's how we do it. So yeah. Now at some festivals, yes, I'll get stage time and have an hour worth of stage time and have, performers come in. So we just did one in San Marcos, California. And so we had an hour and I put it out to all the students and I said, hey, I need performers. Anybody want to sing or play piano? We are not bringing a drum kit, and stuff. And so then we had performers come out and do songs. So
with a lot of your kids that are taking lessons from you and stuff, if it's baseball or football, let's just say 8 to 12, there's competition.
Yeah.
And I know with the high school, the band will go to, I believe it's UIL and that. Is there anything for businesses like yours where there's a competition where, like gymnastics, maybe there are judges and you come together and...
Yeah. There's different communities out there. In California, it's called California Merit. There's a Royal Academy group also. In fact, they use one of my facilities there to do their testing. Okay, I don't like it. I'm sorry. It's... Sure, if you want to go that route, I will support you. I will teach you the Mozarts and the concertos and the singing. I remember doing the singing competitions with opera and things like that. But I think for the majority of the kids, that's not joyful. And the problem is also it doesn't work with my business model because my business model is I have a variety of teachers with a variety of skills and a variety of personalities because that's what fits. I mean, I'm an outgoing teacher. Let's go. Other people are like, okay, Johnny, let's go back to our lesson. So different personnel. And that's important for the learning skills also. It keeps you long term when you find that good fit. Now we bring in guest instructors all the time. If you're out sick, I'm going to bring in a guest instructor, which gives them a new take. And, this is what my teacher's been trying to tell me. You just said it in a fresh, different way, right? So that's important to do. I rambled again. I have no idea where I was going with that. That's twice. I have no idea where I was going.
You didn't actually ramble. You actually completed what we were talking about because we were talking about whether it was competitions or not.
I don't do them. And because the teacher itself has to be a member of that group. And when I have 60 employees, I can't afford to have all 60 as part of this community just for one student to participate.
Well, and competition brings out the best and worst.
It does.
I've got another friend that owns an agency.
Yeah.
And he doesn't live here. He's in another state. And a good friend of mine, he goes, I'm going to compete with you. I said, you don't want to. It's a friendship.
Yeah.
I'm a lot better friend. You do not want to get me cheering against you because if you start competing with me, I don't cheer for your successes. I cheer for your failures, and that is not how I want my friendships work. And it sounds bad, but I like to win. And it was kind of tongue-in-cheek joking with him.
So I belong to a group that's all we are studio owners. And there's two of them right here. One's in the Woodlands and one's in Magnolia, but over off the 105. And I've been in touch with them, because we're part of another mastermind group. And so that was one of the things when I was looking for my location. I was like, these are friends of mine. I don't want to be close. I don't want to be down the street from them because I respect them and I would probably put them out of business. So I don't want to do that to them. But even on Tamina, a second location just opened up and, I panicked for maybe 1 hour on one day. I went, oh my gosh, competition. I was like, no, just put my head down, do my work. I'm a different feel. I'm a different company, so yeah. But I will compete. I'm a competitor. So
I am very much too. But whether it was a new chamber or a new networking group or with others, generally if I find there's another insurance agent.
Yeah.
Well, I don't write home and auto, so it's different. But I want to be friends with them because the joke was with my friend, don't turn it into a competition. What I love is the friendship so we can collaborate.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you can see so many different things in business. I like being friends with other agents so I can call and go, what the heck? And we can talk through it and go, okay.
Well, not only that, hey, I have this client that's complaining about this. What would you do? Oh, this and this, and
Yeah.
offer this and try this, and just to bounce ideas off. So absolutely finding another business that is, like yours, that you can mastermind together is so, again, that took me to my second and third location, was having the mastermind group of other studio owners. And I had a meeting at 9:00 this morning with one. So, and again, just, hey, I'm hiring front desk staff. What are questions you like to ask? Oh, make sure you ask them this. So even just interviewing employees, how to do it, so yeah.
Hey, one of my best referral partners is a home and auto agent.
Mm-hmm.
She does not, her specialty is not commercial.
Yeah.
It's home and auto. And there is business I will refer over to them. And she will refer commercial business back to me. And that was one of those things where we networked together, but we became friends, and it helps each one of our families by doing business that way. But
yeah,
that's where.
Well, I do laugh because there's some franchise music studio places that focus on like rock band. And so they'll send us all their violin and cello students because they don't do that. And I'm like, oh, we'll do it. And we do rock band, so so I tend to never refer over because I just say, oh no, we'll cover that. We'll do it. So so like you, I don't refer out, but I tend to refer in.
Well, I refer out for home and auto.
There you go. Okay.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
I want what I have.
Yeah.
But it's not what I do
right.
going forward. And I found with a lot of us, we have the things we love to do.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love working with businesses. That is my passion.
Okay, so that is great because any business, you need to know what you do and what you do well and focus on it. Don't keep doing octopus arms and going, oh, let's try this, let's add this, let's add home, let's add auto, let's add boat, let's add RV. And suddenly what you're really good at, you aren't focusing on anymore. And you got your tentacles too many places. Streamline your business and say, this is what I'm good at. We are good at private music lessons. We
Mm-hmm.
also have, rock band opportunities. But we are amazing at teaching the joy of music. Yeah. And that's what we're going to focus on. So
I think that is good. And it's hard as business owners to shut off a pipeline.
Oh, absolutely.
But I reached the point where I felt, you put so much into your business, you need me to be an expert in making sure your risk is protected.
Absolutely.
And that expert isn't always retention here. It is when you're doing something more. It's the relationships with underwriters, relationships with others of who you deal with that also add to your expertise.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not a
of
one-man
each
show. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know about the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, outside of posting, what are you doing for your marketing? Word of mouth? Are you running ads, Facebook ads? Are you doing a heavy social media presence? What are you doing to get the word out for your Magnolia location?
Yes.
Yes to everything.
Yeah. When I bought the building, the very, very first thing I did was get the sign on it. Coming soon, now enrolling. That was the first thing. And even now I've got signs on the street. So even just those little things, you got to be able to, drive-bys take no money, but so you got to have a sign on the building. You got to have a sign on the street. This one, I actually put a fun digital sign up, which I was very excited about. I love it. And now that the traffic's on my side of the road, they see it. But the very first thing I did was signage. You got to have visibility from the street, that kind of stuff. Coming soon, now enrolling, before you even opened. Website, it's got to be up. It's got to be visible. I do Google ads. I do Facebook. I do Instagram. I do video ads, not only just, that kind of thing. I do, community newspapers. I've been part of a community newspaper in California for almost 4 years. And I know that I can send him any press release and it'll get printed. So I make sure I get my press releases out there. I send out to everybody.
So do you then back the press releases back into your social media?
Oh, yeah.
Do you, because of having 3 locations,
Mm-hmm.
is your marketing separate, or do you do some
No,
showing?
they're separate. They're separate.
And I was wondering because
Well, they have to be just because of SEO values. So I have 2 different websites, 2 different Google ads, 2 different Facebooks. Now I might use the same video ad for both locations, but one's posted A and one's posted B, so, yeah.
okay,
Yeah. But then it's also, word of mouth, and we do a lot of in-house referrals. We take care of the clients we have. We send them birthday cards. We give them binders. We do free recitals. Once you're a client, you never pay for anything except for books. But even sheet music, we don't charge you for sheet music. We don't charge you for anything. So that's internal marketing, to say thank you. We send out referral cards. We send them, and it's a handwritten note from me that says, thank you so much for sending Johnny to our studio. It means the world to me that you are telling your friends about us. And I send him a $25 Amazon gift card. And even in the month of February, Friendship Month, we're going to double it for $50. Tell your friends. So taking care of the clients you have is just as important as reaching out and getting new clients.
The other thing, I think it's probably more important, and here's my thinking behind it. Most of our referrals that come to us from other customers that we have,
Yeah.
those customers are more loyal once you take care of
Oh,
them.
absolutely.
Than somebody that finds one of our ads, out or somewhere, because there's already that bond. My mechanic, he's got more work than I'd like him to, but he was a referral from one of my best friends.
Yeah.
So things that I would have questioned before, because he's got such a history of being trusted, he doesn't have to worry about losing me as a customer. And
Exactly.
I was referred to him. So when we already have that trust built with somebody, it kind of gives a new business that trust. Yeah. And Dad used to tell me, raise me, he goes, here's a bag and there's trust in it. Every time you break the rules here and you dissolve some trust, it empties that bag. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder to refill it, son, than it is, So when it come to trust as
That's
a
a great
kid,
vision. I like that.
if I were to sneak out, I would leave a note because I would know if they woke up. And one time when I come back in, and I was older at this point, 16, 17, 18, there was a note on the back door from Dad saying, would you be quiet when you come back in so you don't wake your mother and I up? But that was Dad's way of letting me know.
I know.
I know, so. So would you say that your referral process has been your most successful way of attracting new students?
Absolutely. I'm website and referrals, and then drive-bys. And and again, I keep track of it. Anytime a client, that's like my number one question I ask my front desk. How'd they hear about us? How'd they hear about us? And now we had our first referral on Monday, and I actually happened to be on the phone taking the call. And hey, how'd you hear about us? ChatGPT. There's a new pond. So.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, ChatGPT is now finding leading note studios and referring us for clients. So that's important. So, yeah. And I think, yeah.
I got a whole lot of information to put your show together from
ChatGPT. I live off of it. I love it. I've never considered myself a writer, and now it starts things with me, and then I can edit it. And, even like my Instagram posts, I'll say, I need an Instagram post to go along with us playing Mission Impossible on the kazoos. Can you help me write it with a Mission Impossible's theme? Okay, read my post. Yeah.
So what would you recommend for other small businesses? If you could give them one nugget for marketing, what would you recommend to a small business?
Your website. Your website is so valuable nowadays. It's got to be working. It's got to have SEO value. It's got to be user friendly. I get compliments all the time. Your website is so pretty and easy to read and that kind of stuff. So yeah, website's got to be up there. Now, I'd say another nugget is you don't completely sell yourself on the website. Like, there's no pricing on my website. You got to call me, because for me, everybody's like, how much are lessons? Well, we're offering more than just lessons. We're offering, the binders and the musical ladder program and the theory button retention. We're offering full-time staff. We're offering background checks. We're offering free recitals. There's so much more to just how much is your 30-minute private lesson. That's not who we are. We're way beyond that. So you need to call me and we need to tell you about everything you're going to get in addition to a 30-minute private lesson. So, but your website for any small business owner, get it up and running. They're easy to build, but get some eyes on it. Say, hey, can you go through my website and read it? Tell me about it. I'm constantly got people, hey, this is spelled wrong. Quick, go on, change it. I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's better to put something out there that might be a little off and a little wrong than to not put out anything at all.
That's good advice. I am working on a new marketing campaign that has been at the same stage for several months because there are times where my mind is so analytical, I can get analysis paralysis where
yeah, you can't be a perfectionist.
No,
and I am not a perfectionist. Those people that get stuck because it's got to be perfect. Okay, I do videos all the time and post them. And I'll just stick the camera up and video and hit send, and they're like, well, you didn't even edit it. And I was like, well, it was me. I don't want to be, it was just me, so yeah,
Now,
you just got to put it out
there.
there.
Because we don't edit this show. It's as if it was live.
Oh, no.
And we put it on. So I always figure my guests look great. I'll make enough mistakes and stumble over my words enough for all of us and lose my train of thought because I can sure do that too.
Oh, I've done that twice already. So,
so when you're looking to hire as you started to grow,
yeah,
were there certain traits when you were hiring a music teacher that you started looking for that you knew instantly, I need to see these core traits or
okay.
How did you do that?
Well, I've never, ever had a teacher play their instrument for me in a lesson or in an interview. I'm like, if you're applying to teach guitar, you, by gosh, got to play guitar, So I've never had them play for me because I'm never looking for a top of the notch piano teacher. I'm not looking for an advanced piano teacher. I'm looking for someone who loves teaching. I'm looking for someone who can explain the basics to a 3-year-old in music fun time and get down on their hands and knees. I'm looking for someone who will show up and loves music and is willing to share that. I want them being teachers and instructors, not professional musicians. Now, if they're a professional, they get gigs all the time. They call out, they got a gig. One just left on a cruise ship for 3 months. I want that for them, but I want them to love kids. I'm always like, have you been around kids? Do you have any cousins? Have you ever taught before? That's what I'm looking for.
So that leads me to a question.
And then background checks.
Who's the hardest to teach, a kid or an adult?
Okay, so the adults ask a lot more questions. So where the kid's like, okay, put my hand here, play this, right? Where the adult goes, why am I putting my hand here? How am I supposed to play it? I'm embarrassed. I don't know if I should play it. And so I always tell the adults, I was like, you guys need a minimum of a 45-minute lesson because 30 minutes goes so quick by the time you're done asking questions about why you're supposed to hit your hand in that position, where the kids just do it, So adults are a little bit more analytical, but it's still fun. They get hard on, they're like, oh, I can't sing, I can't play, I can't. And I was like, good. That's why I have a job, because you can't do it. That's what I'm here for, And it's like, oh, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to show you. And I was like, no, please make a mistake so I can correct you. That's my job. Even recitals, they're always like, oh, it's not perfect. It's okay. We're going to hold your hand. We're going to make it fun. If you freak out, shake your head. I'll skip you. We'll go to the next person. I'll sit next to you on the piano, whatever it takes for you to show off your talent. Because trust me, 90% of those people in the audience don't want to be up there either, but you are. And the recitals are so valuable to have an opportunity to perform. That is what gives you confidence to talk in front of a boardroom. That's what gives you confidence to talk in front of a meeting room. That's what gives you confidence to be the next president, right? Is those little moments where you got on stage and conquered a fear and played an instrument and were 110% supported by a studio. So there's my next tangent.
I think that is great. So Here's one thing. How do you keep your team motivated? All your staff. Do you manage with one size fits all,
No,
or do you
no.
learn each one of their personalities and how to get the most out of them?
A lot of thank yous. Absolutely. You got to say
Words
thank
of
you.
affirmation.
Words of affirmation. I send every month, I send out a wow card to 2 different employees and a little gift card to like Panera or something like that and say, wow, it was brought to my attention that you were really good helping this, this week at the recitals or whatever. Like this weekend we have, 3 days of recitals coming up. So thank you so much for your extra effort. And I send them a wow card. And I'm not even there. I hear stories or they send me, hey, Johnny really helped out with this. So definitely affirmation all the time. Even my front desk staff, I always make sure they have $5 gift cards to, Starbucks or something, to constantly just hand it to a teacher and say, hey, thank you for teaching that student. Hey, thanks for showing up on time. Whatever they did to feel appreciated. Yeah, I think that's goes a heck of a long way. Very important. Yeah. If you're not doing that, if you're not recognizing them, yeah. I try and set up interviews on everybody's anniversary. So I post everybody's anniversary. And then, I've had people working with me now almost 8 years, which is amazing to me. I have some teachers that have been students of mine that are now back from college teaching. So that's pretty cool.
That's a real testament to you that they come back and want to teach under you.
Yeah, that is kind of special. So, one is in the first location. He literally was one of my first students. Oh, it'll get me teary-eyed. I'll call him out. It's Owen. Owen is was one of my first students when I opened, and now he's graduated. He's actually working in a school district as a music teacher, but he works for me on Saturdays. So, yeah.
That's got to make your heart
that's
just kind of
18
warm up.
years I've known him now. Yeah.
So how do you maintain, you have teachers now in several different locations.
Yep.
How do you maintain consistency so that your message is getting out to the students? Because you are going to have different personalities, and now you're going to have what I would call 2 different cultures. You've got...
Absolutely. Well, I have 2 different cultures at the 2 California. They're 9 miles apart, totally different clientele. It's unbelievable. Well, I wrote a book on that. I wrote a book called From Passion to Profit, and it talks about how to be an amazing music teacher and the standards you should have. Not only if you're working for someone or working for yourself, but if you do these things, you will keep your schedule full and you will make money and be profitable. So I go through those every time I hire a new teacher. Here's my expectations. We hold them to it. We write up all the time. I am very big on write-ups. Hey, you were late for the 3rd time in a row. I'm writing it up. I'm putting it in writing. What's going on? Do we need to change your schedule? Are you constantly late? Whatever. So, but I have teacher expectations. And not only for the teachers, but even the front desk. Everybody, we put it in writing. They know what their job is. They know what their lane is. And we try not to cross lanes, unless they ask for it. Because sometimes they're like, why did you do that? That's my job. I'm sorry. I thought I was helping, So stay in your lane, know your jobs. And my teacher expectations, it's a contract they sign, even as an employee. These are the things. If you do these things, you are going to be so successful here and make money. So,
I have a couple of pet peeves when it comes to this in business. Number one, my attitude is, if you are a manager or an owner that feels you need to micromanage your team, that's on you. You hired the wrong team.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's the case, then either you hired the wrong person,
well,
or
you need to let go
and learn to let go.
Yeah, yeah. And so a couple times when I've turned over projects like our monthly newsletter, I don't do it anymore, right? But I did have a vision of what I wanted to make sure was in it. So the first couple times someone did it, it was a lot of going back and forth because they brought me their idea. And I was like, hey, I love this, but I really want to make sure we mention this every month. Oh, okay, so fix that. So the first couple weeks, it was a lot of going back and forth, but it was also me saying, listen, this is my vision, but I see where you're going. Can you tell me why? Right? Because I haven't been in business 16, 17 years because it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
the processes I have in place, almost 90% of them, someone brought to me. And I said, hey, I like that idea. Let's do it. Let's check with the team and make sure we're all on board, So yeah, you cannot micromanage. You can share ideas, you can look at things and go, okay, I see where you're going with this. Even for the recitals this weekend, I'm not even going to be there. But we're sharing, I was like, here's the job chart that we filled out in the past. And she goes, well, I created this one. I go, oh, I kind of like that, So we're switching the job chart because one of my employees brought me a new idea and everybody likes it. And I'm like, I love it. Let's go for it. Now, if it fails, we're going to go, okay, so it failed because of this. So let's go back to mine, or let's incorporate these two together. Right. Yeah. But let's try it. Like you can't. And so you get new ideas, you get new concepts, you get people that, hey, I'd really like to start a choir. Absolutely. Let me support you with that. Let's see how we can get everybody on board. Let's put all our ducks in a row and let's do it. But you can't micromanage, especially here. I don't have time. I mean, my phone's been blowing up because my daughter's on maternity leave right now. So I'm covering her job also. And I'm like, oh, and I'm open till 8:00 at night in Pacific time. That's 10 o'clock here. And I start here at 8:00. So these are long days lately, So I don't want to micromanage. I want to have a glass of wine and go relax with my husband. So
well, I think as business owners, we forget when an employee leaves us, mm-hmm. they are firing us.
Yeah.
I think human nature, for not everybody, but I would say a lot of people, is they don't like change.
No,
so
yeah.
if they're at a job and they're feeling appreciative. Back in my days of being an employee, mm-hmm. being appreciative kept me from shopping you. Once I knew my job, knew what it took to work with you, because not only do I believe that a manager should learn what gets the most out of their employees, mm-hmm. I took the attitude as an employee to learn what's important to this manager and to do it in reverse. And I think a good part of that is also what you did, and that's the tasks.
Yeah.
You have to define your job description. Entirely too much bleed over. And part of my job at Allstate was being over agency owners. And when I say that, they own their own business.
Yeah.
Everybody, and it was figuring out what motivated each one of those owners,
absolutely.
too.
I asked
because they own their own business.
Yeah, what are your goals? Where do you want to go? How can I help how can I help support you with your goal? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me a story with one of your students that sticks out to where your teaching really made a difference in that student's life.
Her name's Casey. Actually, I got two, Hannah and Casey. Hannah was a piano student of mine at my house when I first moved there. And then followed me house to house, because we never owned a house, we rented. So every time we moved, her and her dad, Alan, would follow me. And she invited me to her bat mitzvah for the girl. Bat mitzvah? It's a female version, whatever. And she brought me up and recognized me as an influencer in her life and everything. And she actually came to Texas for college. And with 6 months ago, happened to stop by the San Marcos location and say, hey, I was just driving by. I'm back in the area. Her dad had passed away. Mm. And she is now teaching jazzercise and doing music. I'm a jazzercise instructor also, music, right? So here's someone that, I've just followed and become friends with, and I've known her since she was 5. Casey's another one. I drove her from school to school. I've babysat her at her house. She actually now lives outside Dallas. I've actually joked with her saying, you need to move here and become my, teach with me again. But just someone where she became a phenomenal pianist, and she still sits down and plays and sends me videos, but it's not her career. But growing up and learning music for both of them, I feel like it was such a happy memory that I hope with any student, I want it to be a happy, I never ever want to be at that school that says, I'm so glad I quit music because of leading note. I want them to say, I wish I hadn't quit. And every adult says this, I wish I hadn't quit. I wish I could have afforded it. I wish I had started, right? Don't let that stop you now. It's not too late, but I don't want to be the school that says, I'm so happy I did. I want to be the school that says, I wish I could go there more,
That's great. So as we wind down this
Yeah.
show, tell me, where do you see yourself in 5 years with your business?
I love having the sister stores in California. They share teachers, they share staff, they run equipment back and forth. I love having that support group. They have that support with each other instead of feeling like they're isolated by themselves. And so me being here, I'd love to own another building and open a second location and have a sister store. I think that would be exciting. But I'm also enjoying, being a grandma. And so I want to have that freedom to run back. In fact, she already called. I get to babysit in March. Woohoo! And so, having that opportunity. My parents are getting older, but they've been huge supports all my life. And so being able to be there for them as they're turning, 85 and actually 87. So having that flexibility to be able to do that. So as much as I'd like some more growth, I want to control it to where it doesn't overtake the lifestyle I envision myself having with my husband and my grandkids and things like that. So
Well, very good. We're going to go into what we call the lightning round.
okay.
Coffee or tea?
Ooh, coffee all day long.
Early mornings or late nights?
I am so not a musician. I am an early morning person.
Favorite music genre to teach?
Country and pop. But it's got to have clean words and a really good story. So,
Piano or voice?
okay. Voice I can take with me anywhere, but I love being able to play for myself and sing. I never need someone to have an instrument to sing. So I'd say primary, I love being able that I can accompany myself on piano and sing, but I do love singing.
Beach or mountains?
Okay, mountains. I like the fall. I love snow. I love the seasons. I love hiking. I like being outside. Yeah.
Yes.
And I lived in San Diego and you know how many times I went to the beach? Not much. I'd ride my motorcycle or the kids growing up. We always did beach Thursday growing up, but yeah, mountains.
So I want to do two things as we wind this down. The first one is I want you to give your website so that people can know where to go visit your school.
Yeah.
And the second thing, I want you to tell people your book's name and where they can buy a copy of your book.
Okay, thanks. So it's Leading Note Studios. It's in Magnolia, and the website is Leading Note Studios with an S magnolia.com. So Leading Note Studios magnolia.com. And you can text us or call us at 832-592-0529. And funny, I had to pull up my number to call that. So 832-592-0529. Instagram, Facebook, always there. And then my book is on Amazon. It's called From Passion to Profit. And it's really focused toward musicians who want to make a career out of learning music, and how they can be successful at it. And the things I've learned since I was, 16 years old teaching.
That is great. Thank you. Camille, thank you for sharing your story. Not just the success, but the heart behind it. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Genuine Business Stories. If you're enjoying the show, we would love for you to consider becoming one of our sponsors. We're making a donation back to Lone Star Community Radio. Lone Star Community Radio is a nonprofit, but all of our shows and podcasts that are produced here are not possible without sponsorship. So we do ask that the radio station is supported. Or if you like what you're hearing, simply share this episode with a friend or a neighbor or a fellow entrepreneur. And hey, if you know a small business owner that has a great story, reach out to us and maybe we'll be able to get them on the show. Until next time, keep showing up, keep building, and keep it genuine. Thank you.